Hello, and welcome to another episode of Roommates Review. I'm your roommate, Liam.
And I'm your roommate, Evan.
Today,
we
are
in
a
day
of
the
Lord.
It
is
my
favorite
birthday.
Also,
I
think
cats
should
exist
to
please
the
Pope
and
the
President
is
a
lizard.
Amen.
And this is Roommates Review. I'm your roommate, Evan.
Today we are discussing, this is actually historical.
It is.
Because we are reviewing a movie that just came out.
Like just came out.
Like just came out.
Yeah.
And that movie, as you might have guessed, is Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Evan, what was...
3, 2, 1. Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel.
Evan, what was your general impression of Captain Marvel?
Very good. Very good.
It was very good.
It is, I think it is up to the standard as most Marvel MCU movies are. I don't think it surpasses the standard, but I think that it is good. I think it's a very, very good movie. Yeah, I would say as a baseline for sure. That's what I'm thinking going into this.
Mm-hmm. I think it went a little bit above the baseline, personally.
Okay.
I really, really enjoyed the whole, personality the movie had. I really enjoyed Brie Larson. I think she played the character really well, and she had a lot of, she felt well-rounded as a character. And she wasn't overly tough. She wasn't overly sentimental. She just felt human.
Yeah, she did feel very human. I would say that that was a little bit of a downside for me. I think she was good, but I didn't think that I don't know, she just didn't feel like a main character enough to me, which is fine, but I think that will work really well for her in Endgame.
I agree.
But I didn't really see her as a leading role. I felt like way too quickly Samuel L. Jackson stole the spotlight immediately from her.
That's true.
Which, like I said, is fine, but it's just like it wasn't a Nick Fury movie. It was a Captain Marvel movie. So that was just my thought of her. I think she did a really good job. I don't think she was over the top incredible by any means, but I don't see her as much. I didn't like her as much as I like Chris Evans in Captain America or Robert Downey Jr. in Iron Man. So for as like origin stories and things, but I think that she carried her character very well.
I can see that, and I think a lot of that has to do with Marvel itself as a company, the executives and people who decided to make this movie, because it's very much a callback to a lot of things, because it brings up the Tesseract, it has Nick Fury, it has Coulson, it has old members of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all these old references to like early cinematic universe, and it feels like it's more of a preparation for Endgame.
It does.
It's not as much like, here's a standalone movie that is great on its own and everything. And it was really fun, and it still was a good movie. Yeah. But it felt more like, all right, we need to introduce this character for Endgame. Here's a movie specifically for that.
Yes, it very much felt like that. It didn't feel... it needed the rest of the MCU around it, which, again, is fine. I think that's a good place. That's a good idea for a movie. I don't hate that at all. I'm just saying... that it's clearly a Marvel Universe movie.
Yes.
It doesn't go outside the lines of that. It has a very contained story. It creates an area where there's not as many twists and turns that can happen, but you are looking forward to things like, okay, what's going to happen with the Tesseract?
Right.
You know, because you know where that ends up. So you're like, all right, I want to see what happens. So you're expecting that. You're expecting what happens with Nick Fury and things like that. These are characters you know where they end up.
Right.
So, which is very cool concept to go by. I love the 90s aesthetic. They didn't go into the kind of the ugliness of it, but
the aesthetic is a lot of what it did it for me.
I like that
in this
a lot.
movie.
I thought it was cool. It just
it was
they
fun.
didn't go over the top with it either.
It wasn't over the top.
It wasn't like this is the 90s.
Yeah, a
big
lot of
time.
movies make that mistake.
Yeah.
Like, oh, radical dude, and like they
over
just
the top. Or even when that happens with like the 80s or whatever, it's like super duper.
Yeah, it was just the setting.
Yeah.
That's all it was. And
Absolutely.
I really appreciate the subtle way they did it. Like, she wore a Nine Inch Nails t-shirt. There was a poster for Smashing Pumpkins. I saw the box case for the VHS of the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie Last Action Hero.
Yeah.
And that's a movie that is amazing. And that I feel like few people have seen that I talk to. And like, I owned that as a kid. I had that VHS. So to see it in the background in Blockbusters, like, I know what that is.
Yeah.
Like, that's really, really fun for me. And then the soundtrack was fantastic as well.
Yeah. So I really liked that. It was a good atmosphere. Very good callback. Very similar kind of feel of what they did in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
With Chris Pratt's with Star-Lord and his whole thing. Not 90s, obviously, but
right.
It's very similar to that, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, Marvel does a really good job of creating a setting, and then putting you in that setting and being consistent with it.
It's completely believable that is, the 90s.
Yeah,
everything about it is
everything.
Very believable. I mean, you could almost, if you didn't know, think that it was made in the 90s, kind of way.
Yeah.
So, which is really cool. Another few things. I mean, the CGI was amazing. Everything in it was really, really good. But specifically, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes.
Being his younger self.
Now, right off the bat, when you said the CGI was amazing, I was ready to disagree with you, because I feel like I noticed more in this movie than I have with, say, the Avengers or other films, that the CGI stuck out to me as kind of poor. But if we're specifically talking about how good Samuel L. Jackson looked,
yeah, I mean,
goodness,
that is a feat in itself. I mean, yeah, I'm talking the movie as a whole. Yeah, some of the action stuff, some of her being Captain Marvel at the end was kind of iffy.
Yeah, a lot of her like flying through space and having the whole suit on and stuff looked kind of iffy.
But like Samuel L. Jackson's that whole thing, that was crazy.
Yeah, and clearly part of that is makeup, but also part of it has to be CGI as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, it has to be. I mean, they put a completely new face on him.
He is 69 years old.
Right.
And that is a young, that's like Pulp Fiction looking Samuel L. Jackson. And he looks great.
Yeah, he does.
Fantastic. I could not tell at all.
Yeah, I was looking for it too. But that I also really like the small detail of when she would come out of her form, she'd come out of her helmet, and her hair
would kind of flop down.
I was like, I really, really like that.
That was good.
That was very cool, because they could have done, very sleek, like kind of, but no, it was like a real drop in, and she just, her hair came down. I was like, I really, really like that.
Really good attention to detail.
Yeah, that's a cool little detail to do that. I don't know how they did it, but it's like, that's awesome.
Really appreciated that.
I like that a lot. So visually it looked really good. I think her costume looked good.
Yep.
I didn't, but like we were saying, there's just some kind of weird parts when she was flying through the ship.
The cat looked pretty bad a lot of the time.
Yeah, it did.
But you brought up, we talked about young Samuel Jackson. How did we feel about young Nick Fury? He was a lot goofier than he is.
He was a lot goofier. Yeah, he was weird. And I don't know. I feel like I thought by the end of the movie they were going to put him in a way where you could see why he gets so serious and so tough so quickly. Because, like, I get it, he's young, he's on the force, and, he's not quite hardened.
Right.
But he didn't get there by the end of the movie, so you just have to assume that in between his whole personality shifts for seemingly no reason. And it was more, like I was saying, it felt more like it was a Nick Fury movie than a Captain Marvel movie. So I really would have liked to see him actually come hardened, but that's, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the young Nick Fury was fun, and it made sense.
Oh, he's hilarious.
It made sense because he was young, that he was so much more full of life.
Sure.
It's just, it would have been nice to get a little bit of a hint as to why he becomes a little darker.
Yeah, you don't really... I think he's a really good Samuel L. Jackson, but I don't know how good of a Nick Fury he is.
Right.
He's still a good character, really fun to see him on screen and everything, but I don't know how close that is to the Nick Fury that we know now.
Yes.
But, yeah, I mean, overall, I liked him.
Okay.
Sure.
So to just get it out of the way, because I feel like this is one of the movies we're working down from 100 instead of working up from 0.
Yes.
What are some glaring bad things that we can talk about and then move on to the better things?
I don't know. I didn't like the whole turn of events with the Skrull and the Kree. And how the Kree were the bad guys and the Skrull were the good guys.
Right.
Instead of I feel like they could have easily kept both of them ambiguous. I didn't need the Kree to be the good guys, but I certainly didn't need the Skrull to suddenly be the good guys. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. I'd say it was a good twist in the sense that it was an unexpected twist.
It was unexpected. That's true.
But I agree with what you're saying.
I think that they should have provided a lot more nuance into the races, because it's very silly to assume one way or the other that the entire Kree race is bad or the entire Skrull race is bad and good or whatever.
Let me clarify though. It was an unexpected twist that the Skrull were good. I completely expected Jude Law to be bad.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Obviously. It just, and there was no
way he wasn't.
It's clearly because he was telling her to, suppress her emotions and things like, and even, I was watching it, it's like, what? It's like, no, you shouldn't. There'd be no good reason to suppress your emotions, so it's clearly he's trying to control her. Yeah, and that was pretty obvious, because I was thinking, one of the most powerful beings in the universe is the Hulk, and he's pure rage.
Yeah,
he's an effective fighter. And Thor gets angry and stuff, and Iron Man, and they all once they get emotional, that's when they actually start becoming, good fighters. They become stronger from it. So, you could just from a mile away figure out that Jude Law was bad. Was a bad guy
easily,
and his whole team clearly bad guys. You knew they were working for Ronan anyway. So, not a surprise at all.
Not a surprise.
So that wasn't a twist, but it was a twist to see the Skrull be good guys.
Yep.
Suddenly, and you kind of have to accept it really quickly, and they don't even become like anti-heroes or anything. They just become
they're just happy-go-lucky refugees.
Now. Yeah, it's like, huh? Because they did the whole deceiving them, all the Kree, and then attacked them. That thing happened when they were pretending to just be refugees and things. It's like, and that's okay. I think they should have been, somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Of.
It's just a little too clean.
Yeah, it's really clean. I really feel like the Kree should have then been attacking, or dang it, I'm gonna get them mixed up. The Skrull, the shapeshifters, should have been, more willing to kill the Kree. I mean, he does end up killing those Kree bad guys and stuff, but he's not against all Kree or anything. He's just like, I just want to go find a new home or whatever. It's like, it's really weird. I don't know. It's strange. It's just a strange shift for him to just be a straight up good guy. Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of weird, but I would say that's one negative of the movie.
I agree with that. I'd say that's a pretty big one.
Yeah, and they just kind of sweep the whole Kree and Skrull thing under the rug and like, okay, well, we got that out.
It's over. It's taken care of.
Yeah, that's done.
Now
forever.
we can move on to
Yeah, we got to
Endgame.
mention him because part of...
I think that's another issue with this movie is it's clearly just a preparation for Endgame.
Yeah.
And all of the plot, none of it really affects anything. None of it really matters in the grand scheme of any of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in that, except for S.H.I.E.L.D. has a Tesseract now, and now it can make sense that Captain Marvel shows up or Miss Marvel shows up in Endgame. That is the whole purpose of this movie, and I think that's partly a detriment.
I think that knocks it off of being like a perfect movie. It makes it not unique.
Yeah, if it didn't have to worry about the MCU, if it didn't have to worry about setting up for Endgame specifically, I think the story could have been more unique. I think there could have been more ambiguity for the Skrull and the Kree because they don't need to just get rid of them and sweep them under the rug right away at the end.
Yeah, which is interesting. I think that happens, and that's what I was saying about the first Guardians of the Galaxy. It happens somewhat with the second one, too, of it sacrifices some of itself as a good movie to bolster the entire MCU as a whole, as a good franchise together, which, that's what it does.
I understand. It's part of the shtick. But
it makes Endgame better. I'm sure it will.
Yes.
Her being in there, I'm sure it will make Endgame better.
Absolutely.
But at the cost of, not having, a near perfect movie.
And clearly we love the MCU. We love watching these movies. We enjoy doing these reviews. That's why we do them, because we enjoy these movies. But I would prefer to see them build from the movie and then decide how to put that into the MCU. Make the movie first.
Yeah.
And have ideas on how to connect it rather than, all right, this is what we need to put into the MCU, so just throw this together to make a movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I like them being their own standalone thing. I think Doctor Strange does a pretty good job of that.
Yeah.
It connects with the Infinity Stone and everything, but it's pretty centralized plot that is not for prepping for the most part.
Yeah. Another thing that I didn't like, because I really like the humor in it from, not so much from Brie Larson. Her stuff was, sometimes she could be funny. I did like...
I think she was meant to be more like charming and charismatic than funny.
Yeah. So, and that's what I'm saying, like, that the humor mostly came from, what's his name? Xandar. I don't know what his name is. Talos.
Who?
Talos. Yeah.
Talos.
The main Skrull.
Yeah, the main Skrull and Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking from him. I thought it was hilarious in that scene where they're in the one woman's house, the black woman's house. What's her name?
I don't remember. Her daughter's name's Monica.
Yeah, that's all I could think of.
Their last name's Rambo.
Yeah, Rambo. Yeah. Okay, so Rambo. Yeah. And when they were in Rambo's house, that scene was hilarious. And I didn't like the whole... Like, I really liked that he was afraid of the cat.
Right.
I didn't like that the cat really was some sort of horrible monster. Because they kept just, like, pointing to the cat. Cat, hey, the cat's here. Look, it's a cat, it's a cat. Because obviously they were setting it up for something. It was going to be something. There was something special about it. But I didn't like that. I think it would have been great if they would have kept doing that and then just like, no, it's just a cat and they're terrified of cats. That's funny.
Right.
That's a funny thing.
I wouldn't have... I disagree to an extent. I think that it should have been something else, but they left it ambiguous. That they left that feeling of wonder and like, well, what is it? Are they going to reveal this at some point? And they never do. But I think it'd be more fun to think, okay, so this is another kind of creature, but we'll never get to see it. kind of thing. I like when there's a little more subtlety and ambiguity and a little more like, you can extrapolate what you will from movies. Like Evan and I were discussing this on our way back to the house. We would have preferred when Nick Fury gets his eye gouged because it happens twice.
Yeah.
What happens the first time?
I don't remember. Does he get like punched? No, he doesn't get punched.
Something hits him in the eye,
Yeah, what hits
and
him in the eye?
we're supposed to think right away like, oh, this is how he loses his eye, and he opens it and he's totally fine. And then the cat, whatever it's called, scratches him, and that's how he loses his eye.
Yeah,
And I would have preferred if that was another thing that was kind of kept unbeknownst to the audience.
Yeah, especially since
there should be mystery to Nick Fury. He's a very mysterious figure.
Yeah, I think that would have been cooler. But I didn't. He gets scratched by a cat and he's like, ah! He's like, it's just a scratch. It's like, no.
He takes it pretty well.
If he just made it so you can't see anymore, that means you're going to be screaming in pain.
Yeah.
Especially that Nick Fury. He's not the Nick Fury of like, I'll just take it, and whatever.
Yeah,
Just
for sure.
Like, I don't get it. It wasn't a good. I didn't think it was a good joke, but it was just like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, because he lost his eye.
Yeah, I didn't care for that too much.
I was like, oh, and then it should have been like in Infinity War where he gets a new eye immediately. just gets a new eye right afterwards.
All right, now we did the bit. Let's negate this, the entirety of this.
Yeah. Just like I don't.
Which in Infinity War I'm fine with because Ragnarok is a terrible movie.
Yeah, and they just
I'm okay with pretending it doesn't exist.
Yeah, they just completely retcon that. It's just fantastic. Except his hair's still short.
Mm-hmm.
I do want the long hair Thor, but
right.
Maybe we'll get him. So,
but other than that, I don't think they're
good. I really like the guy playing Talos, though. I think he did a great job.
Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah, Ben Mendelsohn when he was a bad guy doing it, and when he was a good guy. I think Kree. No,
nope.
Dang it.
Try
Skrull
again.
Can get exhausting. In movies and television, of constantly, anytime there's in any plot of the Changeling is like, oh, who's this person? Is this person a Skrull? Is this person a Skrull? You gotta look.
Yeah, because you gotta do the bit every
constantly.
time.
Yeah.
Like, are you who you say you are? Are you who you say you are?
Yeah.
Am I who I say I am?
Yeah. So it just gets exhausting over and over to where it's almost comical. Sometimes it kind of is. Even in that movie, it's comical because it is a silly idea and you can't trust anyone, and there's no reason to trust anyone. You become ridiculous if you are trusting people.
Yes.
So that doesn't get exhausting. Not so much in this movie, but I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, I think they did a fairly good job
in this
one.
I think they did it well.
They didn't overdo it. I mean, they were done with it at probably halfway through the movie, I'd say.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, except they get you one last time where Talos is a Kree soldier.
Right.
He does that.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay. It makes sense, that they would do that. It makes sense in the universe since they have that power to copy down to the DNA of something.
Which is what makes them such good villains.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But we'll really probably never see that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe again.
Mystique comes
around. Until they bring the X-Men into the series, which there wasn't any kind of X-Men hint or anything.
Be,
I still think that they're gonna save that or Fantastic Four for Endgame.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. We love the '90s feel. I really enjoyed all the space stuff too. Jude Law's ragtag group of Kree. They all had really cool weaponry.
Yeah, they did.
And cool space gadgets and abilities and stuff like that. And with that, I thought the soundtrack was really good for this movie.
Yes.
Because not only did they pull from, all these 90s, and I love 90s music, especially alternative rock. Love it. So, getting all those 90s tunes in there was great for me. But also, there's a few times when they're in space and doing stuff with spaceships and alien tech and Kree tech and stuff where this synth would come in, and it sounded really cool and really good. And it's one of the few times I'm watching these movies and it's like, hey, this is a cool piece, this is cool music, and it really fits this situation and what's happening on screen really well.
Yeah,
it jumped out to me.
Yeah, it really did. We are coming into the era now as we get older. People are starting to play to our nostalgia, trying to sell us on our nostalgia.
That's true.
And it's gonna start happening, because when you're younger, it doesn't quite happen to you. It's the generation before, but now we're gonna be loaded up with. I mean, we're hitting. That's 95.
Yeah.
And, I was born in 94, and so it's gonna start hitting the early 2000s stuff for nostalgia.
That'll be
90s
weird.
And it's weird. It's really weird, but I was super into her grunge look. I like that a lot.
That was awesome.
It was really cool. I like that. Yeah, with the 9 Inch Nails t-shirt and
the leather jacket,
the ripped jeans and the flannel around her waist. I like that a lot. Yeah. So.
And I'm wearing a flannel right now. I will probably wear flannels for the rest of my life. They're so simple and comfy, and
so it's just it's really cool to look at that and see the style and things. And I really liked it when the Nirvana song came on, and it just out of nowhere, it just pops on. It's like, it's really good stuff.
And this is a good transition away for this. So at one point, I'm Just a Girl by No Doubt starts playing, and that's during a really, really great fight scene inside of the spaceship. And what made that fight scene so great, I think, is what's her name? Carol in this movie? Carol, what's her last name? Danvers?
Carol Danvers.
Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel. She's just unlocked all of her power. She's taken the little neck chip thing off, and she's no longer fighting with one hand tied behind her back. So she's kind of clumsy.
Yeah.
And she's accidentally pushing herself all over the place with her space beams.
It was a very much Iron Man-esque style of fighting she was doing. She was basically Iron Man without a suit.
Yeah, it was so well choreographed because she knows how to fight, but she doesn't know how to use these powers really. And she's just learning what's going on. So it's just really, really well done. It was great. I really enjoyed that fight.
Yeah, that was super good fight. But there's not a, I don't know. I don't feel like there's a whole bunch of action.
No.
Compared to a lot of the Avengers movies and stuff where it's non-stop action or Civil War. Trying to think of really good big action scenes. A lot of it's guns. There's some flying scenes. Action, and I've already gone into depth of how I feel about flying scenes in movies. But
it's hard to do a lot of really big action stuff with subterfuge. I feel like because it's subterfuge, it should be on a smaller level,
right?
And I feel like that was a lot of it because of the scroll,
which I did like that. It wasn't necessarily about the world ending. Kind of action scenes.
Yeah, it was.
Not the movie's
it was
about.
smaller and more focused.
Yeah, which we tend to enjoy more.
Yes, for sure. And maybe the Black Widow movie won't suck because she'll actually be a spy, and
that would be awesome.
And she'll actually do covert things, and she'll work on a smaller scale, and that could be really cool and really interesting.
Yeah, it could be definitely.
So, like we said, it's a pretty simple. Pretty straightforward movie. It's mostly in preparation for Endgame, so I don't feel like there's a lot to say about this one.
Yeah,
it's really good, but it's nothing.
Really good, paced really well. I think
paced really well.
I wanted to talk about her, which I think we should try to incorporate more adaptation things we know about Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel things. I was saying I thought it was an interesting take on her losing her memories and things, because that's a defining thing of Captain Marvel, is that she loses her memories. Now everyone knows she loses her memories and her powers to Rogue, and so it's kind of early for her to lose her memories. It's like they got the pieces of Captain Marvel and just kind of mixed them up in a way in this whole new thing. Because as far as I know, this is pretty much nothing like how she normally is.
Right.
I don't know a ton about her as a character, but she loses her memories after she's Captain Marvel. I don't know how she gets her powers, though. I
have no idea.
She gets it in a strange way. That's not how I expected her to get her powers. I guess I didn't know how I expected it.
I know very little about Captain Marvel, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I'm saying in the movie, when I was watching it, I was like, she gets her powers, but I don't know how. I didn't expect it to be from, like, an energy, an engine
exploding,
and then that gives her
indirectly her powers from the Tesseract.
Yeah, basically.
So it's from one of the Infinity Stones.
Right, yeah. So I guess she gets it through that, which it didn't make much sense, but whatever. It's a comic book, so who cares? Yeah. Comic book movie. It's just like, whatever.
And that's a lot of the MCU. I mean, because from the beginning, they didn't have the rights to Fantastic Four. They didn't have the rights to any of the X-Men. They didn't even have the rights to Spider-Man at the time. So a lot of it has been improv, and they've changed a lot of the story points in Infinity War and a few of the other comic series to more match what's going on in the cinematic universe. So it's not overly surprising that things are different for Captain Marvel as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Especially since her main thing is, it involves an X-Men. So, it's just like, of course, I knew they were going to change it up, obviously, but it just, I thought that was an interesting take, because because I tried to learn some about her before I went to see the movie. So she's got her Miss Marvel powers, Captain Marvel powers, whatever you want to call her. She has those, then Rogue steals them and all of her memories. And then she becomes a completely different hero. Carol Danvers does. Carol Danvers becomes her own separate hero, and she joins the X-Men. She's in the Uncanny X-Men comic book series. So basically, which is really interesting, Captain Marvel was not marketable at all. She did not sell well at all. She's not like Wonder Woman is for DC or anything. She's a character that doesn't do well. But the way they're able to take her character and they make her really likable and make her really good, they do a really good movie with it, it's just going to boost the sales of it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's exactly, you take Guardians of the Galaxy, no one knew who they were. Yep. And now they're, going to be, highly sought after huge. Forever. They're going to be, people want comics of them, people want more movies of them.
Yep.
It's just, I really like that ability for them to take a character and make them more popular. It makes me feel like they could pretty much do it with any character.
Yeah, which is very exciting.
Well, it is. I'm super pumped for it. It's not like when you go to see a DC movie and when you go see Green Lantern and that movie's terrible. I mean, a lot more people know about Green Lantern than they know about Miss Marvel, obviously, but Green Lantern's not the most popular superhero either.
And that's half of it. When you go to these movies with characters you don't really know, you go in with not much for expectations.
Yeah.
You don't know what to expect. So you go in and it's just like, wow, this is a really well put together movie and this is fun and this is a good character and I'm interested to see where they go with this. And that's the biggest part. They get you interested. They get you invested. And definitely. So you're excited to see where she goes in Endgame. And since she's so new to the cinematic universe, you're excited to see where she's going to go after Endgame.
Right.
Because I don't think they're just going to have her show up for this and then Endgame and then be done with her.
Probably not, no.
They're going to keep going. She's going to be part of the next wave. What is this, the fourth generation of MC movies now? I don't know. I've lost track.
They've been going around forever.
Yeah.
Here's though, what if we talked about a little bit, talking about, I said when I looked at Brie Larson, all I can see is her part from the movie Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which we love. Liam and I love.
It's one of our favorite movies.
It's one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Probably watched it at least 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah, it's really good. And I love her in that movie. It's completely different character.
Yes.
Totally different. But we were talking about it because now she's going to be in Endgame. Chris Evans was in Scott Pilgrim and is going to be in Endgame.
Yes.
Now we're like, which other characters are going to be in Endgame that were in the Scott Pilgrim movie?
Right.
I'm excited for, I don't know who Wallace, the guy who plays Wallace, I don't know who he's going to be.
I don't know who he's going to be.
I don't know. What's his name? Something McCulkin, because he's Macaulay Culkin's, no, Culkin. So, something. Yeah, something Culkin. I don't remember what his name is.
I don't know.
But I'm excited to see who he's going to be.
Yep.
I'm excited for, Knives.
Yep,
Knives Chow. See that. I think maybe they'll just reprise their roles from Scott Pilgrim.
Maybe.
What do you think?
That would be, since they're both comics.
Yeah, they're both comics.
I think that would be a really good choice. I'm excited to see. No, it's not.
Describe it to me.
It's not Michael Cera. I lost it immediately as soon as I started
know what
talking.
you're saying.
I don't even know who I'm talking about anymore.
Ramona. Steven Stills.
I think I was going for Aubrey Plaza, and I don't know why, because I'm not excited to see Aubrey Plaza. I love Aubrey Plaza, but I don't know what character she would be.
She'll play that character she played in that TV show you watched.
Oh, Legion.
About Legion.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, what if
that'd be really cool. She plays. What is he called?
Legioness.
He's like the Nightmare King or something like that.
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
He plays a big role in X-Men comics because he's like Professor X, one of Professor X's arch nemesis.
Okay.
So
it's a Juggernaut. She plays the Juggernaut.
Yeah, she plays the Juggernaut. It's really
great.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Aubrey Plaza as the Juggernaut in Endgame.
Okay, let's talk about Legion for a bit.
Okay.
So Legion is probably the best X thing they've put out since the original trilogy, aside from Michael Fassbender.
Okay.
It's just so unique. The way they tell the story, the visuals, everything is just so bizarre and in a good way. And it's like set in the 70s, 80s kind of thing. And it's about Legion, who is Professor X's son. And he's like schizophrenic and has all these personalities in his head. And he's one of the most powerful mutants in existence. I forgot where I was going with this too. But it's just really cool. And I really appreciate that they've done 2 seasons now. And they're going to be done after the 3rd season. They've said, like, we have a certain story in mind. We're going to tell the story. And then we're going to be done. Like, they're not going to keep making the show as long as they can to get as much money as they can. They just, here's the story, it's over. And I really appreciate that. A lot of shows, just keep going and going and going to keep raking in money.
Right.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. It's like, okay. I appreciate this. That's all.
Yeah. I watched a couple episodes of it, so I was completely lost because you need to
that was the 2nd season.
Yeah, and so, I don't really ever plan on watching it, but from what I've seen, it looks interesting. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he'll never be in the MCU even once the X-Men
absolutely not
get in there because he's too crazy powerful and because he could be anything, anyone, or something. Yeah, so
insanely powerful.
Yeah. He probably won't ever show up.
No.
But here we go. This is our podcast. This will be. I don't know how many podcasts.
In case you didn't know, this is our podcast.
This is our podcast. We need to, talk
in which
more.
We talk about everything, we spoil everything, and
this is the intro. That was all the intro.
You are not safe.
What are we expecting to see in Endgame from what we got from just the very, very end of Captain Marvel?
Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel.
Okay, all right.
I mean, that's pretty much all they.
Yeah, that's all they did. But I was just thinking of they're back in a lab. They're searching. Mm-hmm. They're trying to figure out things. So you've got Don Cheadle and Chris Evans and the Hulk and Black Widow. And who else was in there?
Yeah, that was it.
That was it? Just those 4?
It was just those 4, and then Captain Marvel showed up.
Captain Marvel shows up.
Yeah.
So they're all together. Who else survived from the snap? that would be around? Because I know Iron Man survives, obviously.
Yeah,
Thor
he's on
survives.
Titan.
So where was Thor?
Yeah, I don't know where Thor went.
Yeah, I'm curious if he's going to figure out like where his people are. You know,
maybe. I don't know. He spent so
Ragnarok?
much time away from all the other characters in Infinity War that I feel like he's going to spend more time with them in this movie.
I think he will. I'm thinking at the beginning of the movie, since he's not with them right now, according to that. Like at the beginning of the movie, he'll not be there, and he'll come back and be like, "I've reported in Asgard, blah 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 blah." blah. Blah, 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 he says,
maybe. I'm not.
And Loki's back.
I'm not expecting much of an Asgard arc in this one. They've done a lot with that in a few.
I feel like
few
they
movies.
have to clarify what happened with the Thanos destroying the ship and it killed half of Asgard and everything with the Hulk. They have to clarify, because if they don't clarify, I'm going to be very upset.
I think they're just going to gloss over it.
They're just like, whatever.
I think they're going to gloss over it like they glossed over those 299 dwarves.
No, they have to mention it. They have to bring it up of why they got away. And I think they will.
I'm going to say that they're not.
I think they will, because
they're not.
They have to, because it doesn't make any sense otherwise. They don't explain it. They don't even like do a throwaway line to explain it or anything.
Right.
So I think they might delve into that more. I'm curious how they're going to beat Thanos with. They showed that Captain Marvel was like insanely powerful, like stronger maybe than Doctor Strange levels.
Well, they've deviated so far from the path of the original Infinity War story already.
Yeah,
it's impossible to really predict where they're going to go with it. They could, in the end, just have Thanos kind of give up the power, find that he's unworthy of it, like they did in the comics, or something to that extent. Or for some reason, at the end of Infinity War, the glove is all messed up, so maybe it doesn't even work anymore.
It doesn't work anymore.
Which would be so upsetting.
Don't even work anymore.
Oh man, I would be very unhappy if that ended up being what was happening in Endgame.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing is, obviously, Tony Stark has to beat Thanos. I'm curious how she will fit in. Brie Larson will fit in with the rest of the cast.
Yeah.
She's not quippy.
No.
Or anything. She's,
I wonder if they'll keep her character consistent.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because
I'm a little
Marvel
afraid
struggles
of that.
with that sometimes. Yeah.
I don't know what character traits I would use to define her. She does some quips, I guess. I really liked when she was fighting in the end, and the one guy puts the gun up to the back of her head and says, "Don't make me do this." I'm like, "Oh, okay," and then just explodes off like whatever. She doesn't seem to take things as a big deal a lot of the time.
And now she doesn't have to take things as a big deal because she is the big deal.
On Earth. Yeah. I wonder how she'll. Here's what's gonna happen with the movie, because here's my prediction
hit me
for Endgame. Here it is.
All right, I'm ready.
Thanos will be a big threat, right?
Will he?
Thanos will be. Listen to me. Thanos will be a big threat, and he will be the one that they're trying to, stop. And they'll get some sort of advantage.
Okay.
Let me talk.
All right.
They'll get some sort of advantage on him, and they'll be able to, if the plan goes forward, they'll be able to take out Thanos. Except, all of our strong people have to fight the Hulk. That's exactly what's going to happen in Endgame. That's what I'm thinking. There's going to be at least a 20-minute fight scene of everybody trying to stop the Hulk. As happens with any movie that Hulk is in it. They have to stop him, because the Hulk is insanely strong, and that's how they're going to justify Captain Marvel not being able to fight Thanos at all with Thor, when she has to deal with fighting the Hulk at some point. That's what I'm guessing.
I'd accept that. I'd like to see the Hulk actually do something in this coming movie.
That would be great if he was actually in the movie.
Okay.
I'm just saying that there's going to be a big chunk of time where their strong people have to fight the Hulk.
I get what you're saying. And clearly they'll come up against Thanos again. But I think a good portion of the movie will be trying to figure out, all right, how do we get all these people back? Where is Thanos? How do we get to Thanos to get the glove to bring everyone back? Because Thanos has accomplished his goal. He's done. He did his thing. He pieced out to some sunny planet with green stuff everywhere.
Right.
And he sat down content.
Right.
And that was the end of the movie.
Okay.
So he's accomplished his goal. He's cool. He's good. So I think the good guys, Avengers and company, will come to him.
Okay. Yeah.
And that'll be a lot of it. I don't think Thanos will be as much of a looming presence. He won't be the main character in this one.
I don't think he's the main character, but I think he'll definitely be the main villain.
Yes,
the one,
absolutely.
I think they'll be trying to get the glove.
They'll be trying to get the gauntlet from him, and that'll be a lot of where the conflict comes from.
Yeah, and he wouldn't want that because he doesn't want them to reverse everything that he's
Yes.
done, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see where it will go. But I am predicting at least a 20-minute segment where Captain Marvel has to fight the Hulk. Because it will show how strong she is compared to, because you have to do the power leveling thing with heroes whenever they face off.
Whenever they meet each other, they have to fight.
They
for
have
a
to
little
fight
bit.
to see who's stronger, and then you learn that they're all the same strength no matter who they are.
Yep. Yep.
And then that's what will happen. That's my prediction.
And they can totally fit that in because it's supposed to be the longest Marvel movie to date at a 3-hour runtime, supposedly.
I want it to be like 5 hours.
Yeah,
I
and
want
that's
it to just keep going.
that's
forever.
like Lord of the Rings runtime right there. That's a long movie.
Yeah, I'm so ready for it. But we got a month.
We got a whole month.
Yeah, more than a month.
We got a month. I think we have Shazam to watch before that.
I'm not going
we
to watch
probably
that.
won't go to that because we're not
watch that.
interested.
Yeah.
Dark Phoenix comes out sometime. I think that's after.
Oh, is that
Endgame,
after?
though. I think it's after.
Oh.
Pretty sure. I think it's Endgame and then June and July. I don't remember which is which, but Far From Home and Dark Phoenix come out in those 2 months.
I don't like the. This is a completely different subject. I don't like the new Cyclops because he looks so dopey looking.
Yeah.
He looks like.
I don't like a lot of the new cast, and I think we've talked about that a little bit.
I don't think. Well, not necessarily like the ones from Age of Apocalypse. Like Storm.
Right.
Cyclops just looks really dopey.
He looks really dopey.
I don't know why. Just he doesn't look.
Yeah,
very
Storm looks alright.
manly. Storm
She looks fine.
Yeah, she wasn't very interesting, but I guess like Halle Berry wasn't very interesting.
Yeah.
But whatever.
I'm not interested in Mystique still.
Yeah.
I still don't care. I wish she would go away and stop being a main character.
I like how none of this is this movie.
Yeah.
All right, so we got 2 questions.
Right.
Which one do we want to ask first?
I think we usually go in a specific order. So,
Okay.
How was the Stan Lee cameo in this movie?
Hilarious. I loved it.
What book was he reading?
He was reading.
I didn't catch it.
He was reading the script for Mallrats, which he's in.
What is Mallrats?
It is a Kevin, what's his name? Kevin Smith movie.
Okay.
And he's in it. So he was rehearsing his lines for that movie.
Wow.
And that's hilarious because it's the 90s.
That's really good.
It was amazing.
That's really good.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't know you didn't catch that.
I didn't get it at all. I just thought, it's some old man reading a script for something.
He's reading the Mallrats script.
Captain Marvel kind of stops and smiles at him a little bit, like, oh, that's nice.
Oh, yeah. That was fantastic. It's like, whoa, what a throwback. That makes sense. That's what Stan Lee would have been doing at this time in the 90s.
Yeah. Wow.
He's practicing his lines.
Yeah, Stan Lee cameos as Stan Lee in this one.
Yeah. Which is really
good.
It puts that way up there for me. Oh, it's quick.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. Wow. Yeah. That was one of my favorite parts of the movie, honestly.
Okay.
I really liked that.
That's really good.
I do wish that he would have been a Skrull, though.
He might have been.
He might have been.
You don't know.
It's true. Anyone could have been.
Yep.
Anyone in any movie we see now could be a Skrull.
So,
except they're good
because
guys.
I didn't understand that reference from the beginning, I'm still going to say that the library scene is better.
Oh, man. It's really, really close for me. Because it gave
But
me an immediate
I will say
reaction.
that one's going to come in second then because of how good that is.
Yeah, it's incredible.
For me.
It's not as good of a scene altogether.
Mm-hmm.
But man, it's a really good cameo that he's actually being Stan Lee.
Yeah, that's really
himself.
good. Uh-huh. So we have to hash this out now. Do you think it's worthy of first place? Oh, clearly it is. But do you think it should surpass Spider-Man 2?
Man.
Is it 2 or is it
Amazing Spider-Man.
Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, man. I think it does. I think it is better because just the specific reference that it actually is Stan Lee.
Mm-hmm.
It's not him doing a cameo as someone else.
Right.
He's not playing a character.
And I accept all that, but I would argue that the library scene's more accessible. Because I didn't understand this reference, and I feel like there's a lot of people who's going to watch and not get the reference.
I don't think that takes it down, though. I mean, just because you didn't get the reference doesn't mean it's not a great reference. Now that you know, though, now that you're in on it,
right.
I mean, you realize how good of a reference that is. So,
but I'm saying, objectively, if I had continued on the rest of my life not knowing what that reference was, and then done my own ranking of Stan Lee cameos.
Yeah, but you can't rate it based off of information that you wouldn't have had. You've got to base it off of information that you do have now.
Okay, but I'm saying there's so many people out there who's not going to get it, and so
who cares?
I still feel like the Amazing Spider-Man cameo is more accessible. It's easier to digest, and therefore it is still deserving of first place, in my opinion.
I don't think it's as funny. I think it's really funny. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that this is funnier. I think it is a smarter thing. If this is... I like that it could be anyone doing it in the library scene, and it would be funny.
Right.
Stan Lee adds that next layer.
Mm-hmm.
But this one is just like, I feel it goes one layer above, where you have to know so many things for it to be put into place.
Right.
So many things outside of the Marvel universe, even. And it's just... It was so unexpected. But immediately, I picked up on it.
Mm-hmm.
It was made for someone like me who knew.
Right.
So I feel like it speaks to my heart.
Mm.
It was me expecting the Stan Lee cameo and then not expecting it to be from something that I knew.
Yeah, from real life.
Yeah, and I also like he was repeating the same line over and over again.
Uh-huh.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think, for me, I would say it's the best one. And, Liam, the man died. Can you at least give him this? That he improved?
Yeah, maybe if this was his last cameo, but I'm pretty sure he still has one in Endgame.
Yeah, but I'm saying he only had a few more. We said, we were like, come on, you gotta pick up your game, Stanley.
Yeah, that's true.
And he did.
He did ramp it up.
He did. He ramped it up.
I'm proud of him for that. I am not too proud, and I will concede first place to this one. Because it is a very good cameo now that I understand where it's coming from. The fact that it is actually Stan Lee being Stan Lee.
He cameoed as himself.
Yes. I will accept your arguments. Therefore, we have a new
champion.
A new champion Stan Lee cameo as Stan Lee in Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Really, really good. And it could have been a Skrull.
Yeah.
It could have been a Skrull.
And he's not in blackface.
He's not. Yeah, which is very good.
Which leads us to the next question, possibly the most important question. Was this movie racist?
Well, the Kree were racist, right?
Very.
Yeah, they were... Not only did they hate the Skrull, but also the one Kree hated Earth as a planet.
Mm-hmm.
Called it a dump or whatever. So they were very racist.
They were very racist, but they were the bad guys.
They were the bad guys for some reason.
Yes. And the Skrull were the victims, and they were green.
Yeah, they were green. Samuel L. Jackson's in it.
And he's basically the main character.
Basically.
Captain Marvel's best friend was a black woman.
Yeah. And the daughter was a black woman, or a black girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like there was good representation
I feel like
race.
This
I feel like it did. I think, I don't think there were some black bad guys, some black good guys.
Yeah.
I think that's good. There were some blue bad guys, no blue good guys, though. No. So it's kind of racist against blue people, but they're not real race. They're not real people. So.
Well, that's racist.
Yeah. The Kree were all evil, I guess, for some reason. Or just the ones that she interacted with, I think. I don't know.
But I think this is one of the rare cases where it's pretty clearly this is not a racist movie.
It's not a racist movie. Yeah, it's very non-racist.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about earlier. I forgot. It was something I wanted to talk about. I really like in this movie. I don't know if their reason was the best for why they did it, but I wish they would take this initiative in other movies.
The Avengers initiative.
They didn't give her a love interest at all. There's no romantic storyline at all for her.
That's true.
And I loved that.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't
Even
do that
Jude Law was platonic.
Yeah, everything. Because you thought at first, like, maybe this is going to go somewhere. But no, nothing.
No.
Nothing at all. Not even a hint of one.
Yeah. It was just friendly banter.
Yeah. Yeah, all of it. As there was no romantic... I was like, yes, good. Thank you. That's what I want. There's a lot of times in movies where they add in a love interest and it feels like just to slow down the movie.
Yeah.
A lot of times. It's okay. There should be romance. I really like Talos and his relationship with his wife and his kid.
Mm-hmm.
And like that was all in there.
Mm-hmm.
But like Nick Fury didn't have a love interest. Carol Danvers didn't have a love interest. And they didn't use romance at all to slow down the plot or to add some sort of extra tension to it,
really
which is what
point.
normally happens.
Yeah.
Normally, it's they take the formula like Superman and Lois Lane's in trouble. Oh, good, that we finally gave something for tension. No, they grabbed their tension from other places. It was completely different.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the reason they did it was to show that she was a strong, empowered woman. She didn't need anyone, which, I mean, that's not what they say. That's just my guess.
Mm-hmm.
Which, women should be able to get into romances and love on camera, but it should just as much be, like, it doesn't need to be a crutch either way.
Yeah.
For a man or a woman on screen.
And speaking of the tough woman on film, I think they did a really good job of it.
Yeah, they did. They didn't over exaggerate.
It wasn't
at all.
overt. There wasn't
sense.
the line like, "Yeah, I'm a woman."
Yeah, I can do it because I'm a girl.
Like,
girl power.
They don't need to say that because it's clear.
Yeah,
she is very tough.
Yeah, she's a tough
and very strong and clearly a woman.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't need to shove it down our throats. It's obvious and it's awesome.
It's there. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, I like that. I mean, they give her the push of like. People are talking down to her because she's too weak when she's trying to do all the military stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It never shows her. Then, like, she does the rope thing. It doesn't show her succeeding.
Mm-hmm.
It shows her not giving up and getting frustrated and continuing to try. It doesn't show her overcoming and being better. It's like, wow, I really like that.
Yeah.
And, like, something, and then she becomes a really good pilot and she... it makes sense why she couldn't be a combat pilot, so she flies on this mission and stuff. It's like, yeah, it's a really good... It sets boundaries of she's clearly a woman. She... It's not like a woman who's framed as a man or anything, or like that. She's clearly a woman, so there are some struggles through that, and she overcomes them because they're good character things come over. I saw a lot of parallels between her and like Captain America, because they all make fun of him when he's a weakling, little guy, but he doesn't give up, and that's what hers is.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is. They have the heart of a hero.
Yeah, they did a really good job.
They did a fantastic job of that.
I don't know why it sparked this synapse in my brain, but for some reason in the middle of the movie I'm thinking like, she could be a pretty good, like, Ridley from Alien or Aliens, or just because of how they wrote her. Like, they just made her a strong woman.
Yeah.
So well, like Ridley and Alien and Aliens.
Yeah. So I really like that. I really love that there was no love interest or romantic storyline at all. And I hope that they try to take that further. We did see the preview for the Spider-Man movie. Spider-Man always has a love interest. Yeah, you didn't see it. Yeah, you didn't see it. But yeah, it just like, there doesn't need to be. That doesn't.
His love interest is Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need a love interest in every movie. It doesn't need to be crammed in there in every single movie.
Yeah.
And I think that this movie does it really well, and I hope that they take that further in, future movies. Like, man, what is the point? What is the point in Doctor Strange of having Regina George from Mean Girls in?
There is no point.
And there's no point. Why is she there? This story is all about him and his mystic powers and the Ancient One, and then it just ham-fist throws in a love story. Terrible idea. This movie doesn't do that, and I really, really appreciated that. And I was thinking of that the whole movie. I was like, yeah, there's nothing.
Yeah.
So, that was a big positive that I wanted to talk about that I couldn't think of earlier.
So who would we recast?
Who
should replace Brie Larson?
Okay. Who should... My go-to is Betty White.
Okay.
Because she was also around in the 90s. And she was in her 90s in the 90s, I think.
Isn't Betty White still alive?
Betty White is 140 years old, though, so you do the math at home. Yeah, I think...
Okay, I hear you.
Okay.
Cher.
Okay. All right.
Just because she's also a hideous slag monster.
Also?
Okay, Betty White's a beautiful, beautiful woman.
I don't think...
I just think it'd be funnier if it was Cher because she's so full.
Cher now?
Yeah, Cher now.
Cher now.
Like, so pumped up with Botox and
She just, interesting. I don't know. I'm trying to think of some other, like, good actresses, powerful, kind of women. It makes me, I don't know. It could be anyone. Could be anyone. Could be a man. As always, I want to cast Danny DeVito as every role.
Right.
But, I don't know.
Huh. I think she should be, is it Wilma? Wilma Flintstone? Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she should be Wilma Flintstone.
So the cartoon?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Absolutely.
So it's just, is she still like the same height?
Yeah.
She's like really short?
Yeah.
Or something? I guess I don't know how tall the Flintstones are.
Oh, yeah, I assume they're human size.
For some reason I'm thinking them as like really short.
Well, that's because you always see him next to a dinosaur.
I guess Barney's really short.
Yeah, Barney's a pretty small
Yeah,
guy.
he's really short. So what if Barney played Captain Marvel?
Okay.
He's blonde. She's blonde.
That's true.
So, I mean, I feel like it would work.
Uh-huh.
What if the whole movie...
All right, Yogi Bear.
Okay.
Yogi Bear.
As Samuel L. Jackson.
As Samuel Jackson. Well, have we already casted Nick Fury,
Probably,
though? I'm
but
pretty
I don't
sure we have.
remember. Did we cast him as Bill Cosby? We cast someone as Bill Cosby.
We did do that.
I don't remember.
I do like the idea of young Nick Fury being Yogi Bear, though. And so...
I like it's all cartoon characters, but like the setting is still real.
Completely the same.
Yeah.
But only the main characters are cartoons. It's like that one Brendan Fraser movie in Hollywood.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Well, yeah. No. It has Pierce Brosnan as the bad guy. Mm-hmm. Brendan Fraser plays his own stunt double in this movie.
You're talking about Back in Action?
Yeah, Looney Tunes Back in Action. Yeah. That one.
Yeah.
It'll be like that.
The cult classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone knows it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you're saying is every role should be replaced by Brendan Fraser.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure we've asserted that a few times.
Yeah. Okay, so I think what you do is you go down the list of the cast, right?
Okay.
And you flip a coin, and one heads is Danny
Brendan
DeVito, and tails is Brendan Fraser. So like,
I think it should be more of a metric. It's like, all right, the coin heads Brendan Fraser. All right, tails not Brendan Fraser. Then we're free to cast someone else.
Well, I was saying I also want a Danny DeVito cast as everyone. So I'm just saying, like, you just flip a coin. But here's the trick, though.
Okay.
I make my own luck, he says, as he flips it. It's a two-face, it's a double Brendan Fraser coin. Yeah, and Danny DeVito's always waiting in the wings.
Yeah, a little disappointed.
He wants to be in the movie, but it's...
Right.
How amazing would it be? Any movie. They should just do it. They should just do it the whole, like, the Eddie Murphy style thing, where he plays everybody, but it's Brendan Fraser playing everybody.
Yeah.
And, like, he literally plays everybody. And it's not like CGI and, like, or camera tricks or whatever. It is him going back and forth, like, running, like, on stage. And then he delivers his line.
All right, but it's not a movie. It's actually Brendan Fraser on stage doing
a live stream,
doing a one-man show.
That would be
It would be sold out every night.
Oh, yeah.
And
Brendan Fraser needs to be in more movies. I saw someone, like, arguing before watching the Doom Patrol show.
I've seen a few people saying that Doom Patrol is pretty good.
From the preview, it looked bad. I mean, I don't want to watch it.
The costumes look terrible.
Yeah, it looks really bad. Also, the humor was really bad.
Yeah, and I don't trust DC.
I don't trust them. I don't want to give them any money for a streaming service.
Right. Yeah, that's the reason I haven't tried Titans yet either. It just looks like complete trash.
Yeah, it
does.
But
I've also heard it's good, so I don't know what to believe.
Yeah, I don't know what to believe
either.
But
I really love Brendan Fraser, and I want to support him.
It just makes me want to watch Blast from the Past again every time I see him, because
it makes me want to watch The Mummy.
Yeah, I've never seen The Mummy, and we need to watch it.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah,
we can watch The Mummy.
We need to watch it. So definitely.
Okay.
I think
Who would win in a fight?
Okay.
Brendan Fraser from Blast from the Past.
Okay.
Or
he's just a normal human.
Brendan Fraser.
Okay.
From Back in Action.
Okay, so you said he was his own stunt double, or he is a stunt double?
Yes.
I've never seen it.
In Back in Action, Brendan Fraser plays the stunt double to Brendan Fraser.
Gotcha. Okay.
So he does play two roles. He plays the actor Brendan Fraser.
Right.
And then he also plays the stunt double for Brendan Fraser.
All right. So at least
it's a four-way fight. It's
well, can I at least answer this?
It's Back in Action Brendan Fraser.
Okay.
It is Blast from the Past Brendan Fraser. Okay. It is Mummy Brendan Fraser and George of the Jungle Brendan Fraser.
George of the Jungle Brendan Fraser wins hands down. That's way too easy.
Every time.
You made that because he's a, superhuman for some reason.
Yeah.
You made that way too easy all of a sudden.
No, because I want to watch George of the Jungle.
George of the Jungle is fantastic. So who would win, George of the Jungle or Sandman with the Sandman powers? If he was in that movie and he was actually Sandman.
George of the Jungle.
You think he'd win?
Yeah. I mean,
Sandman doesn't lose. He's never lost.
Yeah, but George of the Jungle, he's basically a cartoon character already. Like, have you seen that movie?
Okay. And that's like an upside for him.
That's an upside, because cartoon characters can't die. And they can do literally anything.
Yeah, but he's very clumsy. He often swings into a tree.
Right, but it always works out for him.
That's the whole mantra. I don't know if that's true.
But he hasn't died from swinging into a tree.
That's true. At the end of the movie, he does bust through the tree.
He's impervious. He's superhuman.
He's invulnerable.
Yeah.
Okay, well then who would win the fight, George of the Jungle or Superman? Okay, we know that Superman doesn't have any resistances to magic.
Right.
We don't know about George of the Jungle. I feel like George of the Jungle could be easily confused. But
right.
I don't know. With his hard body.
Right. Would Superman be able to kill George of the Jungle?
Well, he would never try.
Yeah, he'd never try. But that being said, would he be able to defeat him? Like, permanently?
I feel like...
Because I think in the mythos that we've created, George of the Jungle is eternal. He's immortal.
Yeah, I think there's a George of the Jungle 2 that Brendan Fraser's not.
Is not in.
and I assume he dies in that one because I've never seen it, so that's my guess. Mm-hmm. My guess is that he dies. Someone shoots him with a gun. This is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Is what the movie would be like.
Which movie would win?
Who would win the fight? Superman with a gun, or
killing Batman's parents, and that's it.
Yeah. Who would win, Batman's parents or Superman with a gun?
All right. Which movie would win? George of the Jungle or Jungle 2 Jungle starring Tim Allen?
Or Jungle Book.
Or Jumanji.
But Yogi Bear is replacing Baloo in Jungle Book.
Yeah.
That's how it is. I don't know the kid's name in Jungle Book.
I don't care.
Alfred? Probably not.
Mowgli.
Mowgli. Yeah, you're right. Hey, Mowgli. I want a picnic basket. I'm pumped for this crossover.
Yeah.
I assume this is what Endgame is going to be.
Yeah.
What if they pranked us and it's just 3 hours of the Russo brothers talking about who they wanted to get into the movie? Like,
what if Endgame is just... Okay. It's like Disney's Ready Player One. And every Disney character ever is just in it. And including all the franchises they've bought. So like every Star Wars character, every Marvel character, all the cartoons, everyone's from Disney. In there. It's just the Disney movie.
I think that's the most likely scenario.
I think that's
honestly.
What's coming.
I think they will go...
Ooh, hear me out.
Okay.
So, at the end of Infinity War, Thanos snapped. And half of all life in the universe was wiped out.
Yeah.
At the very end of Endgame, they're going to reverse this. But instead of all life being returned to what it was, all these cartoon characters are going to replace everyone. And it's going to be all these fictional characters who exist all of a sudden outside of the Marvel Universe.
Okay.
And that's what's going to happen. Like Jedi and Sith are going to all of a sudden exist in the MCU and stuff.
Assuming that the universe is infinite.
Okay.
And everything that can happen will happen.
Goku will become part of the MCU.
No. That means there's an entire planet chocked to the brim of Brendan Fraser's. Right?
I think that's just called heaven.
And when Thanos snaps, you realize none of the Brendan Frasers died. Because they were all in some other timeline playing George of the Jungle.
At any given point in time, in some other dimension, George of the Jungle is being played by Brendan Fraser right now. In some other dimension, there is a George of the Jungle 7. And it's still just as good as the first one.
In some other dimension, there's a George of the Jungle 2 that Brendan Fraser's in. And it's actually good. Man, I want to watch George of the Jungle again. Yeah. I love that movie.
It's been years and years since I've seen it.
That was one of those movies that I would rent from what we had, not Blockbuster. It's called a video stop.
We had a Mr. Movies.
Oh, yeah. Blockbuster eventually bought them out. But, yeah. We had a video stop, and that was one of the movies that I would get all the time and just watch over and over and over again. Because it's maybe the best movie. And I also was trying to learn the secrets of George of the Jungle to become immortal. Right. And I haven't died so far, so I mean...
It's working out.
It's working out.
Our public library borrowed out movies as well as books.
Right.
So that's where I got all my movies as a kid. And so I would get George of the Jungle there all the time.
How great would it... What year did George of the Jungle come out? I want to say like 96, 97.
A while ago.
That's what I would guess. Why didn't they reference that at all in Captain Marvel? Because I just realized we're doing a review about Captain Marvel.
Right.
For the last 20 minutes, we haven't said nigh a word about it. But
there are a lot of Schwarzenegger references in that blockbuster. Because the cutout she shot was True Lies, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then behind her, like I already pointed out, was Last Action Hero. Yeah. Schwarzenegger.
Right.
And so all two.
Yeah. What was the movie she pulled up though?
I don't know. Casey said the name to it, but I didn't catch it. I didn't know what it was.
So yeah, maybe it did star Brendan Fraser as George of the Jungle.
Could have.
It could have.
Could have.
There are a lot of movies where that happens.
I still think there's potential for Brendan Fraser to come to the MCU.
I honestly hope he does. That would actually be really cool.
I think that'd be
especially
great.
Since he's getting back into the acting game.
He's
like
back.
this.
He's in Doom Patrol.
I think it'd be great if he was Thanos.
Mm.
Like if they kill Josh Brolin, like he kills Josh Brolin,
Right.
Like he like he stabs him in the heart one night and says,
"Well, Thanos does have a son.
I am Thanos." He goes
Or
to
it's a
the
different
Marvel.
timeline.
He
Thanos.
goes to the different. No, I'm saying that Brendan Fraser himself kills Josh Brolin.
Oh,
you're not listening.
All
Yet.
right,
He
all right.
stabs him in the heart and then calls up on the phone, like delivers the bad news to Marvel.com, the company.
Marvel.edu.
Yeah, the company that owns Thanos in the Marvel movies. And he calls them up and says, "Hey guys, this is the Frage," as he calls himself.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone calls him, everyone knows. And they're like, "Who?" Brendan Fraser.
Right.
I'm here with some bad news.
Yeah.
I just killed. I mean, Josh Brolin is dead, and so you're gonna need a new super mega star in there.
Yeah.
Right. And so he calls them up. They tell him, "We've already shot the entire movie. We don't need you, Mr. Fraser." He does the thing from what's it called? What's the movie called? Kung Fury, where he shoots through the phone and kills everybody in the office, and he becomes the God King Emperor, Czar of Marvel, and everything is influenced by his hand. I mean, we're talking down to.
But who's to say that's not already happening?
Oh my God. Brendan Fraser was a Skrull all along.
Also, please say, "Oh my Frage."
Man, it was a good movie.
Yeah, we liked it. You want to rank it?
We should give it a score. Do we have a pen?
Yeah, we got one right
here. We
here.
got one pen. Yeah, I think it was a really good movie. Thought it was very fun.
Yeah.
Definitely things could have made it better, but good.
Yeah.
Good movie. Solid.
Mostly a transitional movie, but a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if it wasn't weighed down by having to exist in the MCU, it would have been good.
It could have been really good.
It could have been.
Yeah, I've been wondering why you're not writing your number down. I realize it's because I have the pen.
You have my pen.
I have the utensil.
Yeah, so I will write mine down.
I've been fluctuating from a few numbers.
I've been pretty steady.
Yeah, so I don't know.
All right, 3, 2, 1. I don't know which one of these is this one.
Is it this one?
Yeah, it's the only one.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was 18. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Evan gave it an 81.
Liam gave it an 86. Yeah. So
that puts it solidly at a 83.5. Yeah.
Yeah. 83.5. So yeah, that's what I feel pretty happy with it. I don't know. There was something in it that it's just sometimes there's that X factor in a movie.
Yeah.
You try to assess exactly what it is.
And then you realize it's Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, and then you realize it's Hugh Jackman. Yeah, I think that while I really like Samuel L. Jackson, since he took the spotlight and made it less about Captain Marvel, and I feel like they didn't divulge into her well enough, especially since they were, they're like trying to go through her memories and things. Didn't necessarily like the twist of the Skrull being good guys all along.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't get why some Kree aren't blue. I don't get that. Especially like Marvel wasn't blue.
Marvel wasn't blue.
And Jude Law wasn't blue.
Jude Law wasn't blue. Black guy's not blue.
Yeah. And are there any good guy Kree in any of the movies? Because
I don't know.
Because Ronan's a bad guy. Whistle Kid is a bad guy. He's a bad guy.
Well, he's an anti-hero.
Yeah, at the end of the second one. But I mean, he's pretty much a bad guy.
Yeah. He's a mercenary.
Are the Kree just bad guys? Kree are just.
It seems like they want them to be in the MCU.
All the Kree are just all bad guys. We just got to do a blanket. You know what? None of them can be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But 83.5. New King of Stanley cameos.
Yeah, which is really
not
impressive.
racist.
Not racist.
Good
Those are
movie.
all positive things.
Good movie.
And I think that I really I expect going into a Marvel movie, I expect at least an 80, honestly, for myself. So, I mean, it hit it. It hit my expectations for it.
Yeah, for sure.
The only one that hasn't done that so far that we've reviewed, I think, is Ragnarok. And there are some other movies that won't quite hit the mark. But yeah, I think
looking at you, Iron Man 3.
I really like the direction they've gone in ever since, I want to say, Doctor Strange with the solo movies. Doctor Strange and Black Panther and Spider-Man, I think have all done super well.
Yes.
In that. And usually they're not breaking any barriers, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
And they've started, for the most part, to kind of shy away from the origin story. Which isn't... the origin story isn't a bad thing, but you don't need to necessarily go through every facet of the hero's journey every time, I don't think.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have a little variety. So like Spider-Man already had his powers before we watched the Spider-Man movie. Captain Marvel had her powers already. We learned how she got them, but it was...
There's a little bit of origin.
It's a little bit.
Doctor Strange, there's origin and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's, I get it, but...
Black Panther wasn't an origin...
No, it wasn't.
...movie. It was a coming-of-age movie more.
Yeah,
more so.
I think they should try to do that more in the future of bring characters in the bigger movies and then try to pull back and give them a movie.
Yeah, I
and
like that.
Kind of flesh them out some more. As long as they do it well. So yeah, great movie. Should you go watch it?
Yeah.
Yeah, go watch it.
Yeah, go watch it.
It's in theaters right now, which is this will never happen again probably.
No.
We might do it for Endgame.
We might do it for Endgame.
We don't know. But yeah.
And then never again.
Actually, we might just start doing it with every release because that'd make more sense.
It's way easier.
Yeah, it makes way more sense.
It's way easier to do it that way.
Yeah, it makes more sense.
Because we're gonna go see it either way.
Yeah.
We might as well just review it.
Yeah, I like getting a second watch on it to truly review it because I mean that's normally what happens. But
yeah, like we talked about with Age of Ultron, we both came out of the theater thinking that was pretty meh, and we watched it again. It's like that's a really good movie.
Yeah. So yeah,
you never know.
Yeah, we'll try to figure it out. Like I said, but we always say this is the raw reaction.
Yep.
So that's what you're gonna get. It may not be the most put together and polished opinion, but yeah, that's what this is. So you want to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or you just want to? Okay. Yeah. Okay.